This is in conformity with Section 88 of our Constitution, which empowers the National Assembly to expose corruption. There is no doubt, Mr. President, from this report, we have seen financial recklessness, misappropriation of public funds, deliberate attempts to undermine the purpose of establishing the NDC. Niger Delta is a very important zone to this country. That is the bedrock of our wealth as a nation. You recall in the 7th Senate, when we went on tour of Niger Delta, we saw people living in abject poverty. I can compare their situation with what I saw in Soweto in South Africa. Therefore, I held the view that having a commission like this will improve the well-being of the people. More importantly, when you have people of that zone who are managing the affairs of the commission, which was entrusted to them to improve the well-being of their people. Mr. President, there's no need to pretend about this. This is a deliberate attempt to put the people of Niger Delta in perpetual slavery and penury. Mr. President, from what we have seen of this report, you don't need to be an accountant to know when people have managed public funds. Mr. President, this is one report that must not die. And I take a look at our nation. We all claim to be Christians and Muslims. We believe in the Bible, we believe in the Quran. But when you look at this kind of a report, you feel very bad. Why are we here? We are here to add value to our nation. Mr. President, in the Bible there's what they call Mosaic law, which in the Quran they call Sharia law. The level of corruption in Nigeria today is beyond these laws that we have. We have about 14 substantive laws of parliament against corruption. But corruption was the matter of anti-corruption was the matter of our government. And today we are fighting corruption. But corruption is still expanding. So what's the solution, Mr. President? We have to introduce either Mosaic law or Sharia law. Amputation. Life imprisonment. Let us look at the law when we come back. Set up mechanized agriculture in this country. In every state of Nigeria. The minimum is life imprisonment or amputation. That is the solution to corruption in Nigeria. We have large army of youth today. They have no job. We are not safe. Our family are not safe. And some people are given the responsibility of managing a zone. And look at what they are doing. 3.2 billion for medicals. I mean, you can't explain it, Mr. President. This is terrible. And I'm happy that those who are charged with this responsibility are people of Niger Delta. There is no Northern Nigeria or people of Southwest. So you expect them to be extremely patriotic and committed to the welfare of their people. It is painful to see Niger Delta people in penury. And you get them responsibility. Over 1 trillion naira went down the drain. Who are you going to hold responsible? Would you say President Buhari has not been fair and just? 81 billion in 6 months? And there's nothing to show for it? Mr. President, this is one of the most terrible crimes anybody can do to a generation. People who have been entrusted to improve the welfare of their people, to improve the life of their people, they now add to their problem and put them in abject poverty and penury and enslavement. This is one report that the president must act as fast as he can. Because the matter of President Muhammadu Buhari is to fight corruption. People are dying in this country for 20,000, 50,000 in Niger Delta. People are dying for 30,000 naira. And a man is mismanaged billions of naira. The money they will use to maintain their dogs. Human beings cannot have a quarter of that money of maintaining dogs to feed. We must change the laws. Life imprisonment the minimum. Amputation is the next thing in Nigeria. If you want corruption to die, gentlemen, we are here to add value to our nation. Let us not pretend about it. If you don't want people to push into corruption, and we don't want to be encouraged into corruption, we must put those laws that everybody will be afraid of. We must change the laws. Amputation, minimum.
The Songo Senator Samantha, they must stay within your boundaries. Don't move to that.
Mr. President, let me just thank you. This report is painful because for those of us, Mr. President, who have been in the struggle for the emancipation of the people, we hold the view that Mr. President.
Now I better protect you from yourself.
Mr. President, on a very serious note, Mr. President, under your leadership, under President Muhammadu Buhari, if we cannot stop, minimize corruption, then this country has no future. That is the truth. President Muhammadu Buhari was seen by Nigerians as the saint that was coming to fight corruption. We have a responsibility to support him. Let us change the laws. Amputation, life imprisonment, minimum punishment in Nigeria. Call it Sharia law, call it Mosaic law. If we don't do that, Mr. President, of course there are temptations of corruption in Nigeria. But when you know the implication of what they are pushing into, you don't get involved. Let us help this country. Let this report be a turning point in this of our nation. Let it be the turning point that generations to come will say there was a group of people who changed the face of Nigeria. If we want to have security in Nigeria, if we want development of our facilities, we must fight corruption. Assalamu alaikum.
A thorough job, a very solid job in terms of doing a great service to this nation. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, we have watched on live TVs what has been going on as far as NDDC is concerned. We have seen corruption being displayed at the highest level. Integrities of individuals have been put to test. As my brother Senator Smart Adeyemi has said, the mantra of this administration is to fight corruption. But what do we have? We have corruption fighting back. 4.5 billion was spent in a day in NDDC. 4.5 billion. And the most astonishing part of this is that the expenditure upon which this fund is predicated are frivolous in nature. And that goes to show that it's a huge amount of money coming from the oil companies to NDDC, coming from the federal government from NDDC, coming from the derivation account to NDDC, rolling to several billions of naira. And I'm made to understand that what comes from the petroleum companies are in dollars. At a point in time, there was a reconciliation that was done. No, I want to show where I said. There was a reconciliation that was done. That has to do with amount that was paid by the oil companies, amount that was received by NDDC, and amount due that must be remitted by these oil companies. And after the whole reconciliation, the petroleum company decided to pay the difference, which is in millions of dollars. I don't know if this is contained in this report. Mr. President, there is no game saying about it. There is need for us to reposition the board. I don't know, maybe the committee mentioned about the law establishing the board itself. If there is urgent need for us to revisit the law, to re-examine the law, because that is the first step we must take as a parliament. We are the one that passed the law establishing NDDC. So if there is any action that we can take that can be drastic in nature, is for us to revisit the law establishing NDDC as a matter of urgency. Because with these laws, we can put in place all observations that will have been raised, ranging from one, the master plan of NDDC. What do we want for NDDC? How do we want NDDC to function as an agency? All of these we can put it in the law. The financial processes, the operational processes that have been mentioned by the committee, all these we can put it in the law. And I believe if that law can be amended and all the observations raised by the committee can be put in that law, that will serve as a stringent measure to protect these agencies, I think we will be doing NDDC as an organization a lot of good. The purpose of setting up this board ab initio was for the people of oil producing countries, states, and that something good can come back to them, even taking so much in terms of money fund in the overall interest of this nation, they can have something in return. That is the purpose we have set up NDDC. Mr. President, according to the committee, the chairman making known to us that as we speak, NDDC doesn't have a board. Because of the absence of a board, the minister took over. And ab initio, NDDC reports straight to the presidency. But along the line, the presidency decided to hand it over to the minister. And within a period of 1 year, what do we have? We have serious issue that led to over 120-page report put together by our dear ad hoc committee. So, Mr. President, I will be asking this Senate to, as a matter of urgency, to bring out the law establishing NDDC for necessary amendments, so that all the observations that will be put together here today can be incorporated in that amendment. So at the end of the day, not only will we be salvaging the remaining honor for NDDC, we will be helping this nation and helping our own party to ensure that our own mantra, which is fighting corruption, has come to stay, and this nation can continue to function properly as a nation. I so submit, Mr. President.
For your love for the people of Niger Delta, and also thank my distinguished colleagues for their love for the people of Niger Delta. Mr. President, when I watched the special advisor to the President of Niger Delta, Itaina, on TV a few days ago, he said that the law establishing NDDC was the first law in the history of our National Assembly where the President vetoed. When the President was vetoed by the National Assembly. It therefore means that there was a general consensus by the majority of Nigerians on the need to come to the plight of the people of Niger Delta. And it was based on the basis of that consensus that that law was passed by this National Assembly. Mr. President, I believe that Nigeria has been good to the people of Niger Delta. What we are seeing here today is quite sad, and it is a clear reflection of what we call a theater of solitude. This is the inhumanity of Niger Delta to the people of Nigeria. And I believe very strongly, Mr. President, that whether we like it or not, what is happening in NDDC today is a clear reflection of the hatred of man to man. Mr. President, when we were doing the PIB in the last Senate, we divided ourselves into different committees, Mr. President. And we went on a tour, an on-the-spot assessment of the state of affairs of the people of these oil-producing communities. Mr. President, some of us were in the water for close to 3 hours. Marfa and Senator Alashadura and Senator Geshom Bassi. Mr. President, it beats your imagination that the air that they breathe in this area is different from what we breathe in Abuja or any other community. They live in squalors, no access to electricity, nothing. And here we are, you find a commission spending 1-point-something trillion in 3 or 4 years on lesser fever and all kinds of dubious and spurious transactions. Mr. President, my challenge is, I'm happy that the President has said that he's waiting for a report of investigation. This will be the first step, Mr. President, if he's sincere with the fight against corruption, which I know that he's very, very sincere. It is good to call a spade a spade. Mr. President, if you had watched the public hearing a few days ago, with the kind of contents in this report, why wouldn't the man faint? Why would the man faint? With the kind of contents in this report, the man was just asked, why did you pay 1.5 billion on palliative to staff that were at home doing nothing?
Nothing.
He said, no, it's not, you know, it's not 1.5. It is only 1.3. What is the difference between 1.3 and 1.5? And that you have to pay yourself first before you pay others. And I will sit down and oversight NDDC and this is happening. It's not possible, Mr. President. Mr. President, I believe that as a Niger Delta, I don't believe that all hope is lost. It is good to do the right thing, no matter how late it is, than not to do anything at all. Posterity, I believe, will be fair to you if the right thing gets done now. Mr. President, if you look at the content of this report, nobody can fault its contents. Nobody can fault its contents. The only issue I have with this recommendation is that it is not as strong as it should be. If you are saying somebody should refund money, it should be so clearly stated. And Senator Solomon has said something here. Mr. President, if we had allowed people to use their discretion in running NDDC the way they have run it down and out of purpose, then a time has come where we can also use the strength of the law to streamline the workings of NDDC. Nobody has talked about the master plan of Niger Delta. Nobody talks about it. I know when the last MD of Nsimaike came on screening, he was blabbing about master plan. But here we are. Once they are cleared from here, the next thing is they do whatever they like. When you sit down and you derive contracts of 2,000 pieces of contracts at 49 million naira, and it's so gone. Mr. President, we must also blame the National Assembly. We must also blame ourselves, because this is a clear case of lack of oversight. This is a clear case of lack of oversight, Mr. President. So we must also place some level of responsibility on the National Assembly. We have not done well as regards oversighting this agency. It is good to call a spade a spade. Mr. President, finally, Mr. President, I believe very strongly that the Speaker 2-3 days ago had said, listen, there was an accusation in this on the public hearing at the House of Assembly, at the House of Representatives. As the Senate, we must align ourselves with the position of the House of Representatives. The story out there is that this is National Assembly that does all the contracts in NDDC. The story out there is that we are the one that delays the budget, which is not also true. And what is being revealed here, does it have anything to show that National Assembly is involved in all this? Therefore, Mr. President, I know that since we are elected by the Nigerians, I know that we are the most criticized in this country. But you can see and you can imagine where staff who sits at home are paid 1.6 billion naira for just staying at home during COVID-19. If you look at the contents of this report, the President, the Interim Management Committee has spent more money in a period of pandemic where we are all expected to be at home than even the commission that once had the ball itself. How can you explain this expenditure of 80 billion? 80 billion in 4 months of pandemic. How can you explain that? And you expect us to be happy with you? We cannot be happy. Therefore, Mr. President, it is better we say the right thing, no matter whose office is God. We must strengthen our oversight in this agency. We must review the law of NDDC. We must compel people to do what is right for the people of Niger Delta. If you don't set the record straight in NDDC, we have recently passed the Northeast Commission. So if you are not careful with NDDC now, this might snowball into Northeast. And I know that Southeast has come with their own commission. North Central has come with their own commission. Do we need to replace what is happening in the planet of Niger Delta in the rest of the commissions?
Then we shut down Nigeria.
Then let us do the right thing and get the right thing gets done. We are tired. We are tired, Mr. President. We are tired.
I add my voice in commending the very thorough work done by Senator Adetunde and his team. And I want to say today is a mourning day actually for the people of the Niger Delta. And I join them in mourning this day. The saddest part of what we are discussing is that there is no any demonstration of concern from the people of Niger Delta. Remember, this evil has been going on for long. It's not just from 2015 to now, no. The period preceding 2015 may have maybe more deadlier report. It is truly sad because this issue is a typical Nigerian problem. A typical Nigerian problem in the sense that the Niger Delta Development Commission is seen as a honeypot by most Nigerians. Not only Niger Delta, by most Nigerians. And Mr. President, I want to put it more succinctly that every member of the Management Committee of Niger Delta has a godfather. And this godfather sits at the highest level of policy-making circumference in Abuja. They receive returns because when you want to treat an ailment, you must trace the root of that ailment. Are we thinking that what we are saying after today may not be just a mere television show? Because at the end of the day, every godfather will want to protect his own. And that is how, if we are not careful, this report may be swept under the carpet. There are instances we have seen more deadlier fraud than this. But silently it will disappear. In fact, the perpetrators of such fraud are today calling the shots in government. So, my own is, like one of my colleagues said, I think there would have been a more tougher recommendation because the president can take advantage of this and stamp his foot on the ground about the war against corruption. It is an ailment that everybody smells it, but nobody can say, here it is. All of us, we smell corruption. We say corruption is smelling all over the place, but nobody, it's like a dead rat in the ceiling that is smelling. You know, in the words of one of the anti-corruption experts. So if we want this matter to go, we must trace it to the root. Because even as we speak, godfathers are positioning themselves, everybody to nominate his own, even if by sheer a streak of action, these ones can't survive this period. Every godfather will want to bring his own there so that he can receive returns. This is the Nigerian problem. And how do we overcome this? Except if there is a decisive measure. A decisive measure. Otherwise, if we want to treat people based on primordial relations, sentiments and all that, it may not stand the test of time. We may just end up making noise here, and as it's been associated with parliamentarians, and nothing will come out of this. I support everything most of our colleagues have said concerning this matter. Those who express grief and open emotions about what they saw are right. But you cannot weep more than the bereaved. I expect a massive action even from the masses in the Niger Delta because they are specialized in militancy. Why are they sleeping? Why are they? No, what I mean by militancy is when you are not giving your due regard, you protest, and it's normal. It's normal. I support that myself. When you cheat me, I'll protest. But why are you not protesting now? Why are you not protesting? There is nothing wrong about when you try to be militant about what is yours and is denied.
Deputy Minority Leader, at the risk of misunderstanding what you mean, I hope you are not preaching for people. No, just listen. I hope you are not preaching for people to be militant. Because there are better ways of addressing issues, and this Senate will support people to go through peaceful means looking for their rights, not militancy.
President, I think, like you said, at the risk of not being misunderstood, what I mean is, when you are taken for granted, there's nothing wrong about militancy. Sometimes it's not about carrying arms. It's protest. It's not carrying arms. That's not what I mean. When you protest against an ill treatment of what belongs to you or what is your right, it's normal. I expect to see a massive protest over this fraud in the Niger Delta Development Commission. But yet nothing is happening because everybody is waiting for his own opportunity. If it comes by me, this is my own time. Let me also loot. And all the people involved in this act are people of the Niger Delta. That is my worry. So there must be a new narrative in managing this intervention agency. And that is all that I have to say, Mr. President. Thank you, and I pray the Niger Delta problem will be resolved once and for all.
Senator Matthew Urogire.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Matthew Urogire. I represent Edo South Central District. Mr. President, my very distinguished colleagues, let me first and foremost lend my voice in thanking the ad hoc committee for a job well done, and of course all the